Let's move away from one health condition to another. Now, it's a health condition that used to affect largely the older groups of people, 50-year-olds and even older persons. But increasingly, younger people are being affected by it. Only last year, I was at the stroke unit of a Korle Bu Teaching Hospital where a 13-year-old or so was on admission having suffered stroke. That is getting worse each passing day. People between 16 and 35 are being struck by the disease. What are the figures looking like? What must we know about stroke, and what are our risk factors? Have those increased? We'll be engaging the experts shortly. But first, here's what we know about stroke so far. So 12,000 and 16,000 cases of stroke are reported annually across the country. This as of 2020. And then we know that diabetes, hypertension, alcoholism, and smoking have been found to be major contributory factors. Now, many young people are now being affected. We understand 13 years and above in some regions in Ghana. Well, at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital in Kumasi, records show 800 and 1,000 cases are recorded each year as of the end of 2020. Now, more than 300 of those cases are the people who die, and then the rest become permanently disabled after suffering the stroke. One suffers a stroke when a blood vessel that carries oxygen and nutrients to the brain is either blocked by a clot or simply bursts. What happens is that part of the brain cannot then get the blood it requires, leading to death of the brain cells. So those are some of the figures and some of the statistics, in fact, the information about stroke that we need to know. Let's speak to the experts. They have a lot more insight into this. Dr. Ikea Dufi-Obing is a resident at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. She's joining me for a conversation. Thank you for joining us. So as I mentioned in my intro, I was at Korle Bu last year and I met a young 13-year-old on admission having suffered stroke. That should tell us that each passing day, there are younger people getting afflicted. We must be worried, must we not?
We must be. I mean, I must point out that the 13-year-old is an anomaly, but the age at which people are having strokes is getting younger and younger, yes. So it is quite alarming, yeah.
And we also know that increasingly our lifestyle and then the kinds of diets we are on partly contribute to what we're seeing. For example, I close from work very late. I have a very terrible eating pattern. Must I be worried that sooner or later I might, have a disease or an infirmity?
I mean, I think the truth of the matter is it starts with a change in the mind frame. So the rat race is very attractive. Everybody's working long hours and then doing business deals and so on late into the night. But at some point, you have to really put your health first. So small changes throughout the day, just including a few vegetables into each meal, fruits as snacks. If you drink alcohol, please limit the amount of alcohol you're taking. If you smoke, stop smoking. Exercise, just 30 minutes, 3 to 5 days a week. Just these small changes and make it fun. Play football games with your friends, basketball games. Just come together and make it a group thing, make it fun. And then once the mindset around it changes, the difficulty around changing the way you live changes.
And the scarier part of this is that you do not even know, it doesn't present any prior symptoms, so that you know that once you see these signs, you know there's danger ahead.
That's
so
right.
How do we then, keep ourselves in check?
So you regular checking of your blood pressure. If you have any chance, you get medical screenings are done routinely throughout the country. Check your sugar levels as often as you can. If you are able to do a full blood panel once a year, once every other year, that's good. So you're checking your cholesterol levels, you're checking your sugar levels. And of course, once you maintain the healthy lifestyle, you're in a better position. If you know that you have family members who have high blood pressure, heart disease, or have had previous strokes, then your sense of being more conscious about your lifestyle should be higher.
Wow, that's fascinating, scary at the same time, I have to say. We also know that once individuals get struck, I mean, there are different types of a stroke. So there are some that permanently disables the individuals. Some people are unable to survive anyway. So are there instances where people who are struck can recover?
So we usually talk about a rule of thirds. So a third of the people will die, a third will recover with moderate disability, and a third will recover fully. Unfortunately, it's impossible to know where you'll lie. So that's why the focus really is on preventing rather than, trying to get back up after you
Right. I know Korle Bu, the stroke units, usually on days like this or during the week, you have events to sensitize people, create awareness, etc. The focus this year is on what?
So it's timely access to adequate stroke care. So that includes, first of all, knowing the symptoms of stroke. So we have a mnemonic, it's called FAST. So if you see any asymmetry in the face, if one side of the face is drooping, or you find a person's arm is drooping, or a person's speech is slurred suddenly, those are, you should have a high index of suspicion, and then call to either get an ambulance to get you straight away to get to a hospital, or your fastest mode of transport to the hospital. The other aspect is being able to get a CT scan. Like you rightly said, there's different types of strokes and they're treated differently. Okay. So the important thing is to be able to get it to an institution that has a CT scan. So we're able to do a CT scan as quickly as possible and then get you the help you need.
All right, thank you very much. You heard the Dr. Ikua Dufi-Obin, she's a resident at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, speaking to us. Now you know you have to make small changes to our lifestyles. I think I have to make my changes from today, because these statistics, as we're learning, are simply alarming. You're still watching Midday Live here on TV3.